It's a hump day right here on the SportsGrid Network. The early line live and in charge. Donnie Wrightside along with Joe Ranieri. You know the drill. We got you covered for the next 2 hours. Got some great guests coming up today. Also, some predictive markets access. And more importantly, another 2-0 sweep for the boys yesterday. That's 4-0 after 2 days. We look to do it again, so make sure you stay tuned for our Bye segment in the middle of hour number 2. Last night we saw the WBC crown a champion, and it wasn't the United States. We also saw the first 4. How about that? Getting started for the NCAA tournament. The topics are hot. We are ready to go. And Joe Ranieri, it's time to deliver, and we always do.
Madness, Donnie. That's what we've got coming our way. Madness. Got a little taste of it last night, but there is a lot more coming our way, I have a feeling.
Absolutely there is. If you need to get caffeinated, if you stayed up late to see a Bryce Harper home run only to see Venezuela win, well, this is for you. The hottest topic of the day, Joe. Deliver it.
Yeah, disappointing that was, Donnie. But today we definitely need to talk about the World Baseball Classic and what we just witnessed down in Miami. Now, first off, congratulations to Team Venezuela, because unlike Juan Soto, I am not going to sit here and tell you how it was clear who the best baseball team is, because the scoreboard showed it. Venezuela took down the heavy favorites. That would be Team USA 3-2 last night. Like Donnie said, it's their first ever WBC title. And let's be brutally honest about why Team USA lost. Outside of Bryce Harper tying that game with that 8th inning bomb, the American bats were absolutely horrific. You cannot go 1 for 26 in a championship game if your name isn't Bryce Harper, by the way, and expect to win. You especially cannot be called the captain and go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts in the biggest game of the tournament. Now, Donnie, we know what locked-in hitters look like at the plate. And what we saw from Aaron Judge and the rest of that lineup was deer caught in the headlights. They made a very mediocre Venezuela pitching staff look like world beaters. And if I'm the manager of Team USA, I'm probably shaking my head at the fact that I'm in a championship game and I'm forced to go to Garrett Whitlock over Mason Miller because, well, the Padres called and said he's only allowed to pitch in a save situation. Whatever the hell that means, Donnie. What's the difference? So instead, we all had to watch Whitlock promptly walk the leadoff hitter, watch the pinch runner steal second base, and then, of course, we all hung our heads as we watched him hang a 3-2 pitch to Eugenio Suarez, and just like that, the game was over. But let's look at the bigger picture here, because most American fans, Donnie, will wake up today, will shrug it off, and we will move on to March Madness and wait for opening day. But for the players from Venezuela and their fans, this was everything. This was their World Series, and they treated it with every at-bat and every pitch just like it was that. It was their championship. And that brings me to the biggest takeaway, I think, of the World Baseball Tournament here, this classic tournament. I'm so sick and tired, Donnie, of people telling me how baseball is dead. Oh, it's a dead sport. Yeah? Have you watched what happened over the last week? Did you watch the stands? Did you see the international fans packing in, standing room only, celebrating every pitch, every at-bat, every out? The passion and the energy was off the charts. And, Donnie, we're in March. So as far as I'm concerned, I saw more passion and excitement than I've ever seen in any NFL international game, Donnie, for as long as we can think back to the NFL going overseas. Yes, it sucks that Team USA lost. Yes, it sucks that our best hitters couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. But as a lifelong baseball fan, and I think you'll agree with me, Donnie, I'm pretty damn happy this morning because we had meaningful baseball in March, and it is crystal clear to me that baseball is alive and well around the world, Donnie, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
You're right. And next week it is opening day. And also from a spring training perspective, spring training is boring as all get out. This made it so much more enjoyable because I didn't have to care about spring training and I watched elite baseball. But let me understand this one thing here, which does have to change. Whether or not, Joe, they shifted from let's just play this in the preseason during spring training or during the All-Star break. Can you imagine if Jack Hughes was playing for Team USA trying to win a gold medal at the Olympics? And the Devils picked up the phone and said, I don't want him taking any shifts in that gold medal game. We need to make a playoff run. Or how about in basketball? We're trying to win a gold medal and said, you know what? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, they're only playing in the exhibition, non-knockout stages. I need them healthy for the start of the regular season. What is going on in baseball? And Joe pointed out here, Mason Miller, if we were going to have a save and he could get it, could pitch, which would mean, let's just say 17 pitches. Well, why couldn't he throw 17 pitches in a tie game? That's somehow different at this point. It doesn't make any sense, but also, congratulations, Venezuela. The better team last night, and that's the way it stands here. Let's get to the early lineup on a Wednesday. We got a lot of topics to get to, which does include Venezuela, WBC champions, deservedly so, fought their way through, pitched fantastically, and held on for that win. Congratulations to the boys.
And listen, I mean, that had to be Rodriguez's best start I've seen since he was with Detroit, I think, back in the day.
It was great.
He was unbelievable, and they were the better team last night, no doubt about it. And you couldn't help but to be excited for him because just the level of watching the passion, Donnie, from that team on every pitch, every at, every hit. It was like it was do or die in those situations, and they stepped up in a big way. Could not be happier for them.
Nope, I'm happy for it too as well. I drove through the rain all night. I'm going to watch this baseball game. That's Tarek Skubal, who maybe not have given up any runs over 5 innings and maybe propelled the U.S. to a win. We'll never know. Thanks, Tarek Skubal here. But how about this, Joe? WNBA, the standoff is over. Are we getting women's professional basketball here starting on time? Looks like we just might be, Joe.
I'll believe it when I see it, Donnie. I'll believe it when I see it here. Tentative agreement doesn't mean an agreement. So when I see pen to paper, and I can't wait to see what the details of this new agreement are and who had to give what up here that they were all fighting for. I can't wait to see.
How about these details coming out from Max Crosby himself saying something wasn't right. They made me get on a plane 5 hours, drove me 2 hours in a car, didn't see the general manager, was dapping guys up in the building, wouldn't look me in the eye. Sounds shady here on that rejected trade to the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, no, not sound shady, is shady. And that's exactly what that entire situation was. From the minute they agreed to right to he got off the plane there, Donnie, that entire thing from beginning to end was Baltimore pulling a fast one on the rest of the league.
You give up 2 first-round picks to transform your defense, and everybody's hiding for the guy when he's in the building, when he just wants to meet everybody. You know something shady right away here. Nothing shady yesterday, though. You know who got better in the wide receiver room? The Denver Broncos. You know who's tanking this year? The Miami Dolphins. Waddle off for a first-round pick to the Denver Broncos. I like this move for both sides, Joe.
Yeah, and I still don't think the Jets are going to have 2 wins here against the Dolphins. How's that treat you? But yes, the tank is on, Donnie. And listen, I don't blame them. You got to start from scratch here. But if I'm Denver, I'm pretty excited having Sutton now and Waddle and Franklin coming into his own. That is one heck of a receiving core for Bo Nix.
First, Austin Matthews. Now Leon Draisaitl out for the year. Devastating news for the Edmonton Oilers.
It went from bad for worse for them and Florida. I guess we won't be seeing them in the finals, Donnie.
Nope. How about this one here? You ever hear of Tony Gonzalez? You ever hear of Antonio Gates? Power forwards trying to make it in the NFL and be damn good tight ends? Well, how about a Notre Dame basketball player trying to do the same thing here? How about it? 6'8", 250.
Yeah, and never played a down of football in his life. This should go well, Donnie.
The Masters changing in memorabilia. Expected soon, Joe. What's this story? I didn't hear this story.
I can't wait to hear, Donnie. I mean, I guess the old, somebody else is going to be able to buy or sell their merch now. Is that it? Yeah,
Dante Moore about a little bit of depression his freshman year there in college. And also, Senegal's AFCON title overturned months after, Joe. Oh, no, that can't happen. You know what can happen? A couple more hours with the boys here on a Wednesday morning to get you through hump day. We'll be back next.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
I wonder if you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, like, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any of sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody has to develop, you know that. Think about Joe Burrow, okay? The beginning of his senior year, he was projected a 6th round draft pick, okay? And that's after playing a year at LSU. So Arch still has some developing to do, but he does have the potential to be a great player.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
It's Wednesday here. It is a hump day. You're almost to the weekend and maybe the best weekend of your life. Why? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, wall-to-wall coverage here on the SportsGrid Network. And more importantly, wall-to-wall college basketball tournament action. It's time for some Spreadlines here to get you caught up on tonight for what you need to know. And it does start once again with the first 4. Day number 2 in Dayton, Ohio. 6:40 start. Lehigh taking on Prairie View, Joe. We had this line open up somewhere around the 2.5-point range there for Lehigh as a favorite. You see that graphic there? Now minus 3.5 at just about every book that you're going to find in a total of 143.5. Your spread line tonight, Joe. Game number 1 of the first 4 tonight. What is it?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Donnie, right? Because this really did open up like 1.5, maybe 2. Now we're up to 3.5. And Lehigh had dealt with some injuries early on in the season, especially to their best player. But ever since he came back a little over about a month and a half ago, Donnie, they have been very good. I mean, we're talking about a very good defensive team who limits the three-point shots there, does not turn the ball over a ton. This is a team that's going to be a little bit suffocating to a SWAC team in Prairie View. That, listen, it's both of these teams, it feels like a coin flip, but quite honestly, the team down the stretch who's been most impressive is Lehigh. So, yeah, what was a coin flip is now more than a possession here, Donnie, favorite in Lehigh. And I agree with the move, by the way. I think Lehigh gets it done. I think they get it done rather easily.
143.5 is the total here. Stark contrast to game number 2 we're going to talk about now, and maybe the game of the first 4. It's SMU taking on Miami, Ohio. Some outlets show at the opening number had it as high as minus 8.5 as a favorite towards SMU. Just about every outlet now, according to this graphic, minus 6.5, that number coming down. A total, though, which opened up around that 163 point, Joe, still sits at just about every outlet. The same thing at 163. 2 top 25 teams at making the three-point shot in NCAA action. They tee it up tonight, Joe. What's your spread line for Miami versus SMU?
Couple of number 11s here getting ready to go at it. But obviously it's 6.5, Donnie. This was 7.5 in some spots, but it has started to come back here. Listen, neither team known for their defense, but both teams known offensively to be able to put up some crooked numbers here. And let's face it, it's going to be raining threes in this spot. Miami of Ohio needs to have a good shooting game here, right, Donnie? If they're actually going to win this game outright. But again, do we really need them to win it outright, or do we just need them to stay within 7 or 6.5 here? I think they're more than capable of doing that here. But if either of these teams, Donnie, have an off night from 3, this game could get ugly in a hurry.
Yeah, this is the game that we've been waiting for here. Estimated start time at 9:15, which probably means 9:25 or 9:30 when game number 1 goes to overtime.
Yep.
And then a lot of people will be sleeping in bed, just like you missed a great game last night, which ended on a late jump shot here to give a team a victory. But let's take a look tonight, Joe. The NIT, we still got other college basketball outside of the first 4 that we can deal with. George Washington taking on Utah Valley. Get this, Joe. The Revolutionaries of George Washington, 3-7 on the road. Utah Valley at home this year, Joe, a perfect 15-0. The line in this game, slight favorite to Utah Valley. You see the graphic at -1.5. Other outlets also up to as high as -2.5, and a total of 156.5. GW, Utah Valley. Spread line is what, Joe?
Yeah, and we've watched GW down the stretch here just alternate wins and losses, Donnie, right? They win, they lose to Dalton, they win against the Bonnies. They lose against Loyola, they beat Fordham. They lose to St. Louis, and now Utah Valley. But this is where, you know, the NIT comes in a little differently, Donnie, because home court matters. It matters a lot in these spots here. And the other thing that we're seeing a lot of, which carries over from a year ago in the NIT, is I wouldn't be sweating out unders. Overs were absolutely huge in the NIT. Why? Don't expect a lot of defense to be played in these games. Everyone is looking to drop 20 or 30 points on each other. I don't think this is any different. 156.5, Donnie. This feels like we're going to be in the 160s when it's all said and done between these two teams.
NIT action. We'll see how that one completes up tonight. And also flipping over to the association. Pro basketball, the Los Angeles Clippers in town to take on my favorite team in the NBA, the New Orleans Pelicans, Joe. Overnight, this line sat at -1.5. Some lines are up to 2, and also 2.5 as a favorite towards the New Orleans Pelicans here. A total listed at opening number at 229.5, now up to 232.5, and also now moving as high as 234 at some places, Joe. Clips Pelicans tonight down there in New Orleans.
8-4 since February 21st is what the Pelicans are. They've won, I believe, 4 straight now at home, Donnie, and they're getting, we just saw them cover as went outright as an 8.5-point favorite, and they covered the game, so against Dallas. So this is, and we've said it, this is not a tanking team, Donnie, because they don't have any draft picks to tank for. So all they did was get healthier down the stretch. DeJounte Murray back, Zion playing. This is a very dangerous team. But the Clippers, again, to me, Donnie, is Kawhi playing in this game? Is he not playing? And if he's likely out, it's kind of hard to trust him here. Although Darius Garland, that's what you traded for him for. He had another pretty big night with Mathurin there last go-around. But it's so hard to back the Clippers, especially on the road in this spot without Kawhi Leonard on the court.
Love me some Pelicans, no doubt about it, Joe. But the game of the night could be at 9:30 p.m. The Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Houston Rockets. You must say, wait a second, didn't they just play? Absolutely, they just played. And the Lakers won that basketball game. But now as we take a look at the Los Angeles Lakers, winners of 9 of 10 games, Joe. They're the favorite tonight. They're the dog tonight in Houston. -2 at those opening numbers. You see the graphic up to -2.5 at just about every outlet, and a total of 222.5. Can the Lakers keep the good times rolling here, Joe?
No, they can't. When Kevin Durant goes to the podium and he's bent out of shape and says, I lost the game, I got to figure something out, I can assure you he is going to figure it out. He is not going to lose twice to LeBron. You can say a lot of things about Kevin Durant, but he don't like losing, Donnie. And the fact of what the Lakers did by throwing 2 and 3 guys at him the entire time, I guarantee you his teammates are going to step up in a big way tonight at home. You're not beating the Rockets twice in their own building the same way. Sure, Doncic will get his, but I promise you Durant is going to get his tonight.
Lakers have won 6 games in a row. As I said, 9 of 10 games. Now have a 4.5-game lead there in the Pacific standings over the Phoenix Suns here. 9 games in total on the NBA docket tonight as it sits. Some good times to be had, but also let's go back to what happened last night in the WBC. USA, you blew it! Venezuela, world champions.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
I wonder if you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, like, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody has to develop, you know that. Think about Joe Burrow, okay? The beginning of his senior year, he was projected a 6th round draft pick, okay? And that's after playing a year at LSU. So Arch still has some developing to do, but he does have the potential to be a great player.
Outspoken with Dan Sileo, only on SportsGrid.
Early line on the Sports Grid Network, Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Fun in hour number 1. Cam Stewart's going to join us shortly here to see exactly what he's got going on. Some golf action, a look ahead to the Masters. Hockey, you never know. But also, Kevin Walsh in hour number 2, host of Game Time Decisions right here on the Sports Grid Network, will join us for some fun and also see what he did again on St. Patrick's Day yesterday. But I'll tell you what went down on St. Patrick's Day yesterday. Venezuela won themselves a World Baseball Classic Championship 3-2 over the United States. A deserved victory there. They pitched well and got their timely hitting and clutch scoring runs, which includes a 9th-inning 2-2 game, which turned into a 3-2 game because we'll get into some controversy in just a bit. But Venezuela, they world champs.
And they deserved it, Donnie. I mean, the level of excitement, and you could, listen, there was a lot made about Team USA and the energy and the effort. Did they really want to win this? Did they not? Well, there was no doubt that Venezuela wanted to win, and that team and the effort across the board. I mean, every out to hold that lineup, Donnie, to just 2 runs, and really the only guy that hurt them was Bryce Harper. Everybody else just terrible at bats across the board. Didn't make Rodriguez pitch at all. Didn't make any of those guys pitch. Some of the worst, by the way, balls and strike calls I saw in a long time in that game last night. So it won't be long before the robots, I think, will be in that tournament. But you got to give credit where credit was due. Good defense. Stole that base in the top of the 9th inning, right? Needed to get that done.
Ball.
They took advantage of all the opportunities they had, and they ended up champions, and deservedly so.
When ABS comes in the full force, and I don't mean this year, like we're just going to get the robo-umps. You know what I'm not going to miss, Joe? How about a ball 6 inches off the plate that the catcher frames it in the middle of the plate? Can we stop that nonsense at this point? Like back in the day, like catchers would probably get kicked in their head by the batters for framing pitches. But some Joe, on the black, moving in a little bit, we get that here to show the ump that, yeah, look, that was a good pitch. But for every pitch is framed. It's ridiculous here. And by the way, Team USA, back-to-back championship game losses in the WBC by the exact same score. 2023 versus Japan, 3-2. 2026 Venezuela, 3-2, Joe. Seems like a pattern forming here.
Just, not good enough, Donnie. And, I go back to the whole situation here where, the generation of, like, if this, the Kobe Bryants of the world, could you imagine the Lakers calling up a team in this spot and be like, listen, Kobe's only allowed to play 3 minutes in this game. Any more than that, he won't play. Like, when you go back to some of the greatest Americans, the idea that they only had a handful of guys left for the championship game that they could actually utilize is just head scratch. Why play in it at all, Donnie, if you're not going to play it to win? And it doesn't feel like they played it to win, unfortunately.
Yeah, it feels like that. And by the way, I was texting one of my buddies like, hey, it looks like Schwarber and Harper in prime postseason mode as they both had horrible bats to start the game. But Harper was looking like he was going to be a superstar, tying that up at 2-2. But let's hear from Mark DeRosa. I don't think he's getting any fanfare from being a major league manager anytime soon.
I'd love to get over the finish line. Not only is it 2 times, but 3-2 both times. Why? If you saw how hurting the guys were in that locker room right now, you know why. I mean, for some reason, this WBC has become a tidal wave of emotion for a lot of guys. You get them in the room, representing their country, coming together for 2.5 weeks. The buy-in, it's infectious in there. So, special group to be a part of. Proud of the way we represented USA. Soft spot in my place for Venezuela as well. I played there in winter ball. Know a lot of guys from there, and Omar's a great man, the manager over there. So, yeah, just a great game.
United States, they have the best player in the world. They have a great team, great pitching staff, and we have the confidence that like we can beat them, and we just go out there tonight and with the confidence that like we can beat them, and they play great baseball, and God just give it to us because our country is, they need this. Like a lot of Venezuelan isn't out of Venezuela, and they need this, and we need this too, and we just giving this energy, and they need this like we need this.
WBC growing in popularity year over year. Let's move this to the All-Star Game break, Joe, and let's have an extravaganza. What do you say?
Yeah, and I don't know. How about just make the best players available that Team USA has? What do you think? Maybe that would be great, too. Okay, let's not put limitations on them. That would be fantastic.
Hey, Scooble, start the game. Hey, closer, close the game. Hey, Team USA won, but they didn't. Venezuela was better. Why? Their players cared just a little bit more. We'll be back.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
I wonder if you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, like, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody has to develop, you know that. Think about Joe Burrow, okay? The beginning of his senior year, he was projected a 6th round draft pick, okay? And that's after playing a year at LSU. So Arch still has some developing to do, but he does have the potential to be a great player.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Do we have any bracket busters last night? Did somebody have a pool that definitely included the first four, Joe, and said, you know what? I had UMBC going to the Final Four. Oh, damn. And NC State winning it all, and you're already out of your bracket at this point? Well, probably not, but the brackets are starting to shift here. Now we know which teams will play, at least on those Thursdays and Fridays, from 2 games here, and then we'll get the rest of those next games answered tonight at this point, Joe. Let me ask you, I have not filled out a bracket yet. I will do that tonight. Have you filled out a bracket or maybe multiple brackets so far, Joe?
No, I'm with you, Donnie. I am just going to wait to see and make sure everything is in place here. We can do that tonight, and I'll have them ready to go here after Miami of Ohio upsets SMU tonight.
Some other news across the board as we see. Butler head coach Thad Matta announced his retirement on Monday after 5 total seasons with the Bulldogs. How about Matta's career? 502 victories, 223 losses, over 21 seasons as a head coach from Xavier, Ohio State, and to Butler here.
Yeah, he's been around a long time. Second stint with Butler here, and I mean, great, totally great career. One of the all-time greats that ever coached in a game. Been around forever, but yeah, it's now you get to hang out, relax, get in front of the camera, maybe call a game or two, and his legacy will live on. That's for sure.
How about this? Legacy living on here for the University of Alabama. Some of their athletes tend to get in trouble here in developing news that we saw from yesterday. Court documents showed that law enforcement found approximately 2.1 pounds of marijuana inside Aiden Holloway's apartment. 2.1 pounds would make nearly 1,900 joints, Joe. He was removed from campus here. I don't know what the excuse is going to be coming back from this, but don't be so stupid, kids.
I'd like to know exactly who figured out the 1,900 joints out of the 2.1 pound. Like, did somebody actually do that, Donnie? Because that seems like an arbitrary number there. Depends on the roller, I guess. I have no idea. But I don't know why you need that much. I mean, was he not making enough in NIL? Like, I don't understand. He was the second leading scorer on the team. He had to be making bank with NIL. I don't understand what's going on here.
You see these shows like the 1,000-pound sisters. They're a popular genre here. It's like, hey, you know what? You're trying to lose weight here, but every room you go into and every drawer, including the refrigerator, is loaded with candy that you're trying to hide. I read some of the documents here from the police that went in, Joe, and it felt like every room they went into was a bonanza of weed all over the place, Joe. It was like, hey, they found my stash in the garage here. No, it was in the bedroom. It was in the drawers. It was in the kitchen. It was in the living room. Every single component of this house was filled with weed, Joe.
Yeah. And again, he learned a very valuable lesson. It's like, well, how do you think the cops zoned in on this place to raid it? How do you think that happened? And you think maybe somebody picked up the phone and dropped a dime? I mean, you didn't see this coming as a possibility? Like, what are we doing, man? Again, what was his NIL paycheck here that this was the side hustle he needed? Unreal.
I got to tell you, too, like when you get a new pope, right, the smoke comes out of the top of the building. There's like, hey, there's a new pope here at this point. I guess that's what happened at this house every night, where they would light up tens of thousands of joints a night, it feels like, in that house. Like, hey, what's going on there? Let's go check it out. You can't be, like, on the eve of the tournament where your team is expected to possibly make a deep run, all up in smoke, apropos, as we say. Let's get back to the games last night, Joe, because we had 2 really good ones. One game decided by 3 points, the other by 2. Game number 1, Howard, 86-83 over UMBC. Had the 8-point lead at the half. It came all the way down to the end where a missed 3-point shot that had a good look almost found its way. Howard moves on with a victory.
Yeah, kudos to Howard, too. They really, from the get-go, opened it up. The pressure kind of got to UMBC early, but they figured it out in the second half, Donnie. But ultimately, for 2 teams and 2 of the slowest tempo teams, I mean, they scored 90-plus points in the first half. It was out of control, and they got after it. And UMBC made that comeback. They had a chance to send it to overtime. They had a good look on that 3. It just didn't drop, and Howard advances.
Post-game presser here from the Howard head coach. Let's hear from him.
I think our guys' resiliency and being battle-tested in our tournament and some of our games this year, it was a very familiar place for us. So I'm just so happy for our university, our players. We talk about this moment these moments when we present our university to our young men. We talk about how important it is for them to have a chance to get to a NCAA tournament and win games. It's a box that we check. We talk about that before the game. You know, we've never won a game. We've done a lot of things in our program, but let's check off the box of winning an NCAA game today. And I'm just so proud of our guys, so proud of our university, so proud of our leadership with Dr. Wayne Fredericks and Mr. Kerry Davis.
And there you go. Moving on to with a legitimate chance to win another game in the tournament. Well, we'll certainly find out shortly on that one. How about game number 2? A game that we thought we'd get a lot of points. We didn't. 68-66 final. Texas was a victor. Why? A last-second shot on the mark, pun intended here, to give Texas the victory.
Yeah, Draymond marked there, but this was an ugly game, Donnie. I mean, my God, they made a total of 5 threes, I think, Texas altogether. I mean, 5 of 17. They did get to the free throw line a lot. We told you that, right? They had 29, I think. They made 21 of 29, and they needed every one of those points. Again, if the threes weren't falling for NC State, and they weren't, we knew this was going to be tough for them.
Here's Texas head coach here in his post-game presser after the victory.
This group right here got back to Austin. It was not easy. We practiced a couple days not knowing if we were in the tournament. Took a couple days off. I think talked to these guys among themselves. And we came up here with a clear mind, a good spirit, and I thought in a good place. Not that we played great, but I think a big reason we were able to win is that our group really came up here to win and came up here as one. They were together.
You know, disappointing end to a pretty disappointing season for us, the way I look at it. And we hadn't been very good in close games. We hadn't earned the right to win close games, and our season ended very similarly to the reason we're sitting in Dayton. And so, you know, you are who you are in pressure moments, and we tried to mask some stuff, and we couldn't do it. And so that's why we're here, and that's why we're heading home.
Survive and Advance is the name of the game. You had 2 of those games yesterday, which were Survive and Advance, 1-possession ball games. Maybe we'll get the same tonight in Dayton, Joe, which tips off with Lehigh and Prairie View, a 143.5 total and a 3.5-point favorite here for Lehigh at this point. And game number 2 is SMU. But let's start with this first game, Joe. You saw it yesterday. A lower total, not expecting to get a lot of points. He got a lot of points. Game number 2, expecting more points, didn't get a lot of points. What are we expecting here for Lehigh and Prairie View tonight?
Well, I mean, you know, since February 26th, Prairie View has not lost a game there in the SWAC, and they rattled off victories right through, right? So they are red hot, but so is Lehigh, Donnie. Both of these teams come in really, really good form. In fact, 6 straight wins for Lehigh, which coincides with the health of their team. They got back their best player, their best shooter, and boy, oh boy, they made a run, and here they are with an opportunity to get it done. Better defensive team, better shot selection from Lehigh. That is why the market has only moved in their direction so far here, Donnie.
Save the best for last, which is what we're hoping here in the first 4, and that's SMU taking on Miami, Ohio. This game, as we said, opened up around 8.5. You see the graphic. We're down to 6.5, and points are expected in this game, Joe, 163.5. I just hope this game doesn't start later than 9:30 tonight.
Yeah, probably not here. But, I mean, let's face it, Miami of Ohio, they've been hunted all year long, right? We talked about it. Down the stretch, Donnie, everybody wanted a piece of Miami, Ohio. Well, guess what? Now they're the hunter because nobody's giving them a shot here at getting 7 points against SMU, who can't stop a nosebleed defensively. That's a very dangerous team shooting-wise that you can't stop anybody on that defensive side. Miami of Ohio is very much a live dog here tonight.
NCAA action, NIT action as well. If you're looking for those late-night caps there, St. Joe's versus Colorado State and Illinois-Chicago at California here. We'll be right back. Cam Stewart joins us next. You don't want to miss that, do you?
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
I wonder if you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, like, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any of sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody has to develop, you know that. Think about Joe Burrow, okay? The beginning of his senior year, he was projected a 6th round draft pick, okay? And that's after playing a year at LSU. So Arch still has some developing to do, but he does have the potential to be a great player.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
We are right back here on the early line. It's a Wednesday edition, which means the fun has just begun. It is hump day here. Donnie right side, Joe Ranieri, and we welcome in Cam Stewart into the program this morning. A lot of stuff going down. Baseball ends last night. Hockey's on fire right now. A golf tournament on the horizon, Cam. Good to have you here this morning.
Yeah, nice to see you guys. Usually in the past on St. Patrick's Day, I'd be hungover after those green beers, but I'm not a stupid idiot teenager anymore. It's like, do I really want, colon blow with the green food coloring? No, we've passed that era in my life. I love it. People are drinking, I drop by to see my buddy. People are drinking green beer. I just want to go like, guys, you're drinking food coloring. I know everybody loves St. Patrick's Day, but your stomach's not going to thank you in the morning. Donnie, stayed up, watch the Sabres again, talk to producer Tommy. This is unreal what's happening right now. 2-0 on the road against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. His team looks absolutely fantastic. They can beat you with goals. They're playing defense. Unbelievable stuff. But yeah, the Valspar this week. Shout out to Cameron Young, too. He's a guy that couldn't get over the hump. He gets it done at the Players. That was a great battle between Matt Fitzpatrick and him down the stretch. And really happy for Cameron Young. He seems like a really, really good dude. And I think he's one of those players now that he's gotten over the hump and he's starting to win more. He's going to be more confident when he has to close it up down the stretch with pressure.
Cam, let's get right into it with the Valspar starting. We love to get you on Wednesdays here to get a clean slate looking at this weekend, whether it's round number 1s, top 10s here. How are we playing this week's Valspar Championship?
Well, Donnie, we're going to go not as many picks, but we're going to start off with Jacob Bridgman. And for people not paying attention, I wanted a better number, but I'm getting 22. I think they opened up at 25. I should have jumped on it. Have you taken a look at what Bridgman has done this year? And Joe, you bet golf too. It's one of those situations, top 10 all the time. Won a tournament already. He had a huge lead going into it. What is this Copperhead course reward? Ball striking. And that's Jacob Bridgman. That's right in his wheelhouse at 22. And a weekend field, I wanted a little bit more, but I'm not going to take a guy just because of his odds. I think he can win this golf tournament. Hisatsune, watch out. You take a look at the metrics, and I look at stats, but I also look at feel and make notes. And Hisatsune has been in every tournament this year. Guys, he is fantastic. Once he gets that putter rolling, it's going to be unreal. Page 1 of the leaderboard all the time. Sneaky T13 at the Players. Højgaard, it's one of those guys, I've been on a couple dates. It hasn't gone well, but you know what? The girls I've been with have been horrible, so I'm going back to the first one. I'm sticking with her with Højgaard. The Crazy Dane at 45-1. And watch out, you want impeccable ball striking. Alex Smalley is that guy. Very, very good in these Florida courses at 80-1. He looks good to me, guys, but I really like Bridgman. Hisatsune. Take a look at the field, too. A couple guys withdrew. Like, you got the Justin Thomases of the world. A couple other guys. Like Cantlay, he doesn't look very good. So I'm looking at these guys, hot players, good Florida golfers, Donnie. What else are we going to do here? We're going to take a top 10 with Victor Hovland. He seems to be coming into form. Didn't like what he did on Sunday at the Players, but at plus 200 for a top 10, I'm in. also top 20s. I'll tell you something, as Prime Minister, I've talked to Corey Connors. Does he get the Order of Canada? Maybe. I'll tell you one thing, top 20. Give him a double-double and a donut. He won't win, but he'll finish top 20. Koepka, plus 140. Watch out for Brooks Koepka, suddenly trending up. Let's get that putting going, right, Joe? And Smotherman. This isn't Dateline NBC or 2020, but the Smotherman's coming in with asphyxiation. All he does is finish top 10. I'm getting top 20 for plus 200 for him. Matty Schmid, plus 200 for a top 30. And Joe, you know me and Cole Kane. This guy, I can't shake this guy. I'm there. Yep. I want to get rid of him with my new friends, but he's knocking on the door. He wants to party. What is he? Plus 240 for a top 30? That's Eric Cole. Take him in the top 15 to 30 range. He doesn't win, but he collects paychecks.
Cam called me crazy. I mean, I know Spieth back in the day loved this golf course and was a champion here at Innisbrook, but I feel like I got to fade him. I mean, he hasn't placed since, I think, 2017. And some of these guys, quite honestly, are just here to tune up their game for Augusta in a couple of weeks. Are they not, Cam?
Great call, Joe. And that's the thing about Jordan Spieth. You look at him and you go, wow, what a round. He suddenly got it around. He putted 26 putts. Then you see 32 putts and a 76. That's the problem with Jordan Spieth. I don't want to take guys who could literally play great for a couple rounds and then blow up and take themselves out of the tournament. Too many double bogeys, too many big numbers. That's the problem with Spieth. He still has the game, but he doesn't have the consistent game to get it around, guys. So you're right, Joe. It's one of those situations, if you feel good about a matchup bet or a daily 18-hole, a 2-ball, a 3-ball, sure, you can throw your money on Spieth as a dog, but taking him for 4 rounds of golf, I'm with you, Joe. Some of these big guys, they got to see, how's the irons flighting? How's my driver? Don't want to hit it loose. The guys who have made money in their careers, they're thinking about the big picture and the Azalea Lane and Augusta National. So, yeah, that's why I kind of take those guys down the board. Guys who have been close. Hisatsune, all those other guys, they've been playing really good this year, and they also want to win a golf tournament to get confidence and get their ticket to Augusta.
We love talking to Cam Stewart on Wednesdays here. More importantly, the first 4 continues again tonight with 2 games, and also Thursday, Friday, Cam. Any looks, by the way, whether it's tonight or even Thursday or Friday, that you got your eye on here that the people would love to hear about?
That was crazy, man. That NC State, Texas game, it got a little bit wild at the end there. My buddy's a Longhorn fan. He was sweating it out. I'm going to tell you guys, though, tonight, what are we going to do with Miami of Ohio? It's one of those situations. Are they the public dog? People know their story, right? But they're also getting points in this matchup. And maybe, you know what? Maybe something to prove, getting 5.5. So I'm going to take a shot with them tonight. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, maybe they'd lose another game. They shouldn't be in the tournament. We'll see. I think they're going to bring their A game tonight in that matchup. So that's something that I'm looking at, guys. Hockey tonight, I'll tell you one thing about hockey. Take a look last night. Some of these teams that lost all their star players, they call up all the younger guys. The St. Louis Blues. Can you believe these guys have won 9 of the last 10 games? A lot of these teams that you think are going to be dying, they're not. It's like NBA. The stars are out. You get a big number. You take the team without the stars. Watch out for them. I'll take a shot with the Blues tonight. I know eventually it's going to slow down, guys, but I'll tell you, I watched this team play. They're better now with the guys calling up for the American Hockey League than they were with their other guys. And Robert Thomas, he's on fire.
It's great stuff as you're bringing up, too, tonight, Cam. Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Fire away, Joe. Get it.
No Draisaitl, no Edmonton. Nope. Is that it? Is it over? No Draisaitl, no Edmonton.
Edmonton. So, okay, you know how Edmonton wins? They got Connor McDavid has 7 points. It's that simple. They're giving it. Honestly, Joe, have you seen it? Taking a look at it. I'm betting hockey. I'm I see a 7.5 for an Oiler game. The books aren't stupid. All they do is score and give up. They beat San Jose 5-3. It's one of those situations. They're not good enough defensively, forwards and defense, and shady goaltending. No, I will not take the Oilers. And I think Colorado's going to play well, but they're going to limp into the playoffs. They got to be healthy, guys.
Cam, quick question here on Flyers goaltender, Mr. Vladar. Does he have a Conn Smythe in his future? Just let me know, please.
Darth Vader? Oh, God. Settle down, Luke Skywalker. The answer's no.
Thank you, Cam.
May the force be with you, Donnie. Oh, my God.
There you go.
Vladar for Vesna? I got to cut your mic.
Vladar. He's the king. Good to see you, Cam. Thank you, buddy.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
I wonder if you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, like, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody has to develop, you know that. Think about Joe Burrow, okay? The beginning of his senior year, he was projected a 6th round draft pick, okay? And that's after playing a year at LSU. So Arch still has some developing to do, but he does have the potential to be a great player.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
NBA nostalgia at its finest, Joe. We got a nice little story coming back because growing up, Sprite was always associated with the NBA. How about this from NBA Communications? The NBA and the Coca-Cola Company today announced a new global marketing partnership, bringing Sprite back as the league's official global soft drink partner. The agreement marks the return of one of the NBA's most iconic brand collaborations, reuniting two names that have shared a deep connection to basketball culture for decades. By the way, was it Starry? Like, who was the latest? Like, who was the most recent soft drink partner, by the way? Who was it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's got to be either Coca-Cola or a Pepsi brand, right? Whichever one of the brands underneath it. So if it's been Coca-Cola, I don't know, 7-Up still around, Donnie? I don't know. They just Sprite take over 7-Up? Like, what's going on
Starry?
here? I didn't even know anybody. I could very well be.
Is 7-Up Starry? I don't know. Like, Starry
I think
was
that's
a
what
terrible
it is.
brand, which I don't think ever get caught up with. Yeah, Sierra Mist back
Sierra
in the day.
Mist.
Remember
Yeah,
those?
that could be. Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
man. Get the 7-Up back up there. Lemon lime flavor, man. Sprite, 7-Up, go toe-to-toe at this point. But the one thing we do know, Joe, maybe if they bring back Sprite, guys will stay healthy and not load management. Could that be a possibility? Well, how about Giannis Antetokounmpo? I want to be traded. I don't want to be traded. I want to get out of Milwaukee. How about you just stay healthy and play for Milwaukee? Left ankle sprain, ruled out for tonight's matchup against the Hawks. This was last night. And why is he even playing the rest of the season, Joe? Why?
I have no idea. I wish he wouldn't. Just move on down here. I want you healthy when you come on down to Miami. So let's not take any risks here, Giannis. He will likely. We might have seen his last game as a Milwaukee Buck, if we're being completely honest here. There's no way he wants to come back to this disaster.
Reevaluated. That's how you know you have a pretty good team there that's trying to keep an eye on you. And Anthony Edwards using those same terms. I'm going to be reevaluated in a week to 2 weeks. Most of us, Joe, we go to the doctor and they tell you, give it 2 or 3 weeks. Nobody's reevaluating us. We just try to give it a go. But Anthony Edwards is going to be out. Inflammation on that right knee, Joe.
They didn't need him last night. They will need him eventually at some point. Yeah. But this is also feels like, well, we know it's a marathon, not a sprint. So let's leave it. We're going to need Anthony Edwards for a run in the postseason. They didn't need him last night. They handled business easily against Phoenix. I think they can get away with a couple more wins without him.
By the way, do we have a scheduled loss here, Joe, coming up for the Golden State Warriors as they take on the Boston Celtics tonight in the Garden at 7 p.m.? Line opened up around 11.5. You see the graphic. We're up to 12 and 12.5 in the marketplace now, and a total of 216.5. The Celtics bringing back that 1990s style of basketball. Defense, defense, defense tonight, Joe. The problem is, who's going to score for the Warriors?
Well, I guess it's they're hoping Porzingis, right? Because it's his return to Boston, right? Is he going to get a little revenge going here tonight, or is he likely going to stub his toe and be a late scratch? I think that is going to be closer to what we're going to get here tonight. And I love Steph Curry trying to convince everyone how he really does want to come back and play this. No, you don't. Like, you have, there's no part of you that wants to come back and play on this team this year. No. So, yeah, but maybe Porzingis stays healthy enough to play a quarter because I wouldn't trust him much further than that.
Yeah, jockeying for playoff positioning out here. Should we say some of these teams just limping across the finish line, hoping to get there? My Philadelphia 76ers included here. But the nightcap tonight, Joe, 9:30 p.m., standalone game, Lakers and the Rockets. This game opened up as a 2-point favorite for the Rockets. Now sits at most outlets, 2.5, give or take. You take a look at that total, 222.5. The Lakers on a 6-game win streak, winners of 9 of their past 10 games. And we just saw this game play out, where the Lakers came away with a victory by holding the Rockets to basically 2 points, it felt like, in the fourth quarter. Kevin Durant upset. Maybe I got to stay out of the way, he said. Does he stay out of the way tonight? And also, Joe, can the Rockets knock off the Lakers?
Listen, the Lakers, kudos, they won that game the other night, but they needed a lot of things to go their way. They needed 24 turnovers from Houston in order to be able to get that win. And Kevin Durant couldn't get out of his own way. Nobody else could make a shot. Durant was getting double-teamed left and right. And you saw, we played it yesterday, Donnie, that post-game news conference, Durant was not happy, blamed himself for not figuring out what's going on. I promise you he's going to figure it out tonight. Whether Sengun goes or not, I think Kevin Durant unloads on the Lakers here tonight.
9-pack in the association tonight, Joe. And let's just go over some of the lines here that we have as well. Celtics favored by 12. Thunder favored by 19.5 on the road tonight. The Blazers on the road favored by 10.5 points. The Timberwolves at home favored by 13. You take a look at the Nuggets on the road favored by 13.5 points. You take a look at Atlanta on the road favored by 8. What happened to NBA on a night-to-night basis, Joe? We have good competition. Well, some teams are tanking. Some teams have given up on the season. But I got my eye on the prize tonight. I'm taking a team nobody wants to take. You gotta stay tuned in hour number 2 and find out who that is. We'll be right back after this short break.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I wait until I get the tournament bracket. Then you'll see me start to talk about who makes a run, who's right to get picked off. You go back to last year, look at St. John's, right? They were on a roll. They got Arkansas, who was a better version of St. John's.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
I wonder if you could argue UConn's more overseeded than, like, the idea that UConn was battling for a 1 seed, quite frankly, never made any sense to me when you look at where their metrics were stacked.
UConn will be great as long as they don't play St. John's, apparently, in the tournament. They're good to go there. But you put them at a 5, Kevin. Now here we go again, like last year, Bill Self versus Rick Pitino.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Everybody has to develop, you know that. Think about Joe Burrow, okay? The beginning of his senior year, he was projected a 6th round draft pick, okay? And that's after playing a year at LSU. So Arch still has some developing to do. but he does have the potential to be a great player.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 officially underway right here on the Early Line SportsGrid Network. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. The fun has just begun. Why? In this hour, we have some predictive markets edge. You always love that part of the Early Line, as well as Kevin Walsh joins us in the next segment. You're the host of Game Time Decisions, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern, and also with Gabriel Morency. We'll get caught up on some of the hot topics of the day and the biggest games of the night, Joe. But the energy, super high to get us started off. Great hour number 1, Hump Day Wednesday. The energy is here tomorrow. And Friday, some people call the best 2 days of the sporting calendar year, Joe. It's our job to get the people ready. We'll do it. We will.
Yeah, and listen, we got a little madness coming our way here tonight. Still a couple of teams looking to punch their tickets into that, round of 64. And then we got 32. And, yeah, we got a whole lot of madness coming our way here, Donnie. That's for sure.
I'll tell you what madness happens here. You see the trade market. Whoa, the biggest news of the day, Max Crosby trade, 2 first-round picks. Baltimore is going to acquire the premier pass rusher in the NFL, and they're going to revamp their defense and make a Super Bowl run with Lamar Jackson until they didn't. We're going to talk about this after we hear right here from Max Crosby.
Have my MRIs. I was asking Joe, could I, before I left, I wanted to see the head coach, just chop it up, talk football, talk ball. He's a defensive guy, never met him before like that, so I wanted to chop it up. So I didn't get to meet with him till the end of the day. I didn't get to see the GM at all. I thought I was going to see him when I first got there. I didn't see him for 5 hours. I dap him up, and you could just tell, the energy was a little bit off. And the GM was standing in, the hall, in the room next to me to the right. And that was the first time I seen him. And, I'm just in my head, this is a whirlwind. I'm so excited, fired up, you know what I mean? This is a new opportunity, whatever. And you could just tell the energy was off. I dapped him up. He had, a blank face. I go into the room. They sit me down on the couch, and he's like, man, I don't know how to say this, but, one of our doctors has concerns with the results and whatever. And, with your knee, some of them have, are concerned about the future and da-da-da-da-da. And, we really want you, and this is what it is, but, we're just going to have to get more and more opinions.
They already had their opinions, Joe. The medicals were out there. The guy just got surgery. All accounts said everything was going to be just fine here. And when you get traded for 2 first-round picks as the cornerstone of the market coming to your building, you don't send the private jet out there. You say, okay, we'll get you a first-class ticket, have that 5-hour flight. Then we're going to put you in a car for 2 hours drive over the facility. And then the general manager and the head coach are going to basically ignore you. And when you do see him there, it's a cold fish dap up here at this point. They did Max wrong here. Maybe just lit a fire under Max Crosby for this season.
Yeah. Max wrong here. I mean, this was shenanigans from the get-go, Donnie. And I'm so glad that he actually had that interview and told us about it, Donnie, because they had to know. I mean, they went through all of this dog and pony show to get him there, knowing full well they had really no intention of actually going through with it. So it's just a bad look all the way around for not only the Ravens, but the NFL altogether.
And also, if the Ravens had sent those picks back and say, we're not going to do this deal and never sign Hendrickson, nobody would care. But it was almost like, all right, stall this deal for 2 to 3 days until we work out the details on Hendrickson. Once we get Hendrickson's deal in place, we'll just say we don't want to do this trade anymore, and our doctors said no, and then we'll get another guy who we paid, whose market came a little bit lower than we wanted to, so we snapped him up, and we don't have to give up draft picks. It's that simple right now. The Ravens gamed the system here to get their player and not cost them any damage. But also, if they couldn't get Hendrickson, they'd be like, hey, press conference on Tuesday. Max Crosby's our guy. He always was our guy. Absolute madness at this point right now. But Jalen Waddle, talk about madness in Miami. Who the heck is playing for their team? I even saw a graphic come out that said they're actually paying more people to leave than actually stay and play for the Miami Dolphins. Waddle on the move. That's a superstar young wide receiver here. That could be the power difference in the AFC. I like the move for Miami. I like the move for Denver.
I'm with you. I mean, Miami has got to hit the reset button, which is exactly what they're doing. New leadership there, new coaching staff, new quarterback, new everything. It is time to move on. And if you're Denver and I'm Bo Nix, I got to be excited about that wide receiver room now. I mean, having Sutton and Waddle and Franklin, who really came by, they've got the tight end room all squared away. This is a very potent Denver offense looking to run it back once again this year.
Leon Draisaitl, he's hoping to run it back and get to maybe a Stanley Cup final, maybe win it this time. Not going to be able to participate this year. Down for the season with an injury. That is a tough blow to the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, time to regroup. They got to figure some things out. I mean, they got to get goaltending. They got to get some defensive guys going. It's, chalk it up. You've been there the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You fell short, much like the Panthers. Nothing lasts forever. But you got to get Draisaitl back healthy, and you got to make some moves in the offseason. I think they'll do all of that and be back again next year.
6'8", 250 plus. Sometimes that doesn't translate to the NBA, but you know where it might translate to the NFL, or maybe just watching tape and say Tony Gonzalez did it. A couple other guys tried to make that move and it was successful. But how about a basketball player trying football going like, I can do that. Notre Dame looks like it might have its future tight end in the NFL as a basketball player. Come on now.
Yeah, listen, I mean, maybe he can be a Jimmy Graham. I have no idea. I doubt it, though, Donnie. The guy's never played a down of football in his life here, and now all of a sudden, yeah, why not? But you know what, Donnie? If he shows any skills whatsoever,
yes,
he'll find himself on a team. Somebody's going to pay him to come and play football.
Correct. And at least somebody's going to be like, you know what? We'll give this guy a shot here. You'll be on the practice squad where they make some good money. And if you can translate into an NFL career, congratulations. Because if the NBA isn't calling, the NFL is, make that money, man. That's the name of the game. How about the Masters? Changes in memorabilia expected soon, Joe. Does that mean it's going to be more open process here where everybody can get in and not just a little tight-knit community down there in Augusta?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're working on, expanding the licensing and everything else of all of their products, because it is one of the most, don't forget, Donnie, that's the one tournament where they don't need your advertising dollars. They don't want it. They don't care. They're going to go ahead and put the Masters on with or without you. So, it's always been it's so unique from that standpoint where we don't need sponsorship. We're the Masters. So, but it looks like maybe now the memorabilia aspect and maybe the licensing of the logo and everything else becoming a little bit easier to get a hold of.
Yeah, they only take like 2 or 3 sponsors there and come out. Like it used to always be like IBM or let's just say 4 at that point. It has to be a good 25 years ago where they had that protest where women weren't allowed to be like official members. They could play golf, they just couldn't be on the membership here. And like, we're going to protest here. And the sponsor's like, hey, we're going to take a lot of heat. And the Masters goes, you won't take any heat. We're not having any sponsors this year, and we don't care if it's on TV. And so be it. That's how you know how powerful it is, where you have so much money in the coffers, you don't need sponsors for an event because you want to prove a point at that point here. Dante Moore battled with depression here during his freshman year in college. It happens, man. Love to hear the people speak out against this because you know what happens? If somebody hears that you're going through something tough, maybe you'll speak out about it and it'll certainly save you there. So there you go. Dante Moore revealed he was struggling with some mental health issues over the past year.
Well, listen, a lot of people believe the right decision. He'll be back next year. And listen, he's going to be outside of Manning. I mean, he's going to be the presumptive number 1 pick here for a team if he can elevate his game. And there's no reason to think that Oregon won't be loaded and ready for another run at a national championship.
Know what happened in this one, Joe? AFCON says Senegal's AFCON title overturned months after. Did we cheat? Did we have illegal players? Was it NIL? What happened here?
That's a good question, Donnie. Show us the proof. That's all I'm going to say. Show us the proof, and it will be good to go.
We don't have a graphic for this here. Where's the graphic?
No.
Oh, man, graphic.
The wrong tweet. Yes, right.
Yes. It's no big deal. It's the way we do. We roll with the punches.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the producers tweeted us as well on this one here. But we do got some exciting times coming up tonight, Joe. The first 4 will conclude in Dayton, then Thursday and Friday, the best days of college basketball of the year, wall-to-wall coverage. And also, Kevin Walsh going to join us next year. We're going to find out how his St. Patty's Day went. Did he win any money? Did he find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Much more, Joe. It's just how we get down to business here on the early line. And you know what comes up this half hour as well? We're going to give you some bets. That's absolutely more importantly, predictive markets edge. That's what the Pros Pro does here. We tell you what's coming up because you want to watch. Kevin Walsh is up next. Don't you go anywhere.
team could be an ATS machine.
Yeah, you know what? I got excited. I usually get excited about the Jets in the offseason and kind of think, they could be sneaky better than people give them credit for. And even this Geno Smith deal, I originally kind of rolled my eyes and thought, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? And then you come to the conclusion and you realize, Kevin, they're paying him $1.3 million a year.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This is not a probability market. This is an information narrative market, which, by the way, there are already people who know the answer to this question. So
yes.
You are not, you're not battling getting the right price. This is not math. This is who the hell knows where Taylor Swift might get.
Yeah.
You know who knows? Taylor Swift's people.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, still, even though he gave up that home run, Tom, you know the number's going to be there. If he stays healthy, who's touching that guy?
Well, you mentioned him. The only player I've interest in betting on for the AL Cy Young this year would be Brian Wu. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the odds. It's a combination of his underlying skill set, where I believe he's trending in terms of his career.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
On the Thunder side, while they haven't had their stars totally for the entire regular season, they're still 3-4 games ahead of where the Spurs are, and that says a lot. Without SGA, without J-Dub, who's missed a large chunk of the year, Chet missed some time, for them to be still good enough to keep winning and stacking these wins, it means something, and it's actually building confidence for those others.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Hump Day Wednesday, maybe the best part of your day will be Thursday and Friday watching college basketball. Maybe the best part of your day during that will be tuning in from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern. Some of the highest ratings in network history expected on Thursday and Friday. Why? Kevin Walsh and Donnie Reitzer will be live. I guess we're calling it in-game live at this point, but let's welcome in Kevin Walsh here. How are we feeling today? Feeling good?
We feel fantastic. I mean, we've got quite a bit on our plate, but I also feel like it's a little reserved. Like, it's not the greatest NBA card you've ever seen. It's the 2 play-in games, but it really just kind of sets everything up quite nicely, of course, for tomorrow, the real beginning of the tournament.
Yeah, some people are saying it here, Kevin, tonight, too, in this game. LeBron James on the hunt now, maybe for a max contract with how well he's playing with the Los Angeles Lakers. Winners of 9 of 10 games here, 6 games in a row, just busted up the Houston Rockets, and they're back for more. The Rockets are the favorites tonight, Kevin, -2.5 with a total of 222.5. LeBron James, Luka Doncic for years to come in L.A. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so some true, some probably not. They're playing really well. I'm sure LeBron would love a max contract. Truly, I don't know if he'd love it for it to be in Los Angeles next season. It's hard to tell. It's a long, winding season. The Lakers, through their 68 games, have had about 4 different variations. This seems to be the most enjoyable of the group, though. It's a really, really interesting game when you try and figure out betting it, because Houston feels, right? And again, like, I don't know how they're going to figure out this offseason, because Ime Udoka is doing mostly nothing on that sideline now. The only person I think Durant likes in that organization is Ime Udoka, maybe Amen Thompson. So who's actually going to be on this team next year? I would assume Alperen Şengün is back tonight. Everything indicates he will be. So that should mean the Rockets are more dangerous in this game. But man, is that fourth quarter, really the second half, burned in my head. Just some of the worst offense. They weren't even trying. Like, they just kept putting Durant at the top of the key, and they're like, oh, no, they're going to trap. And then they trapped. And then he just passed the ball to Austin Reeves. And it's like, what is happening here? As we sit right now, a Laker team total would be the most interesting option on the board, where I'm not fading Houston for a second straight game at home against the same opponent. I'm not sure defensively themselves, though, they can keep the Lakers to 100 or less like they just did.
They needed a lot to go right. And I mean, 24 turnovers and Kevin Durant going to oh my God, they're double teaming me. What do we do now, Kev? Like, you got to be kidding me. Having Sengun back, it feels just the spot itself. Very tough to think that the Lakers are going to go in there. Durant came up to the podium. He was bent out of shape. This is inexcusable here. It feels like if they're going to bounce back, this is the spot for them to bounce back at home, especially with Sengun already being cleared now to play tonight.
Yeah, I totally agree, right? That's why I wouldn't want to play the Lakers at +2.5 because this is even, I don't know, when you take the best team in the league against the worst team in the league, and they do these double ups in the same arena.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to go and beat the team. It's hard for the home team to grab 2 wins, much less the road team here. But the Rockets stuff was so bad, and bad in a way, Joe, that I don't want to involve them in how I'm going to bet this game on the offensive side, where I don't know, like this idea that Durant is now going to mope and just sit in the corner this game and just be PJ Tucker and let Sengun figure it out feels on the board, and I'm not sure that's the solution either. I think bringing Sengun back is probably not going to be better for their defense. So betting the Lakers to score, I would assume the number's around 110.5, right? So the Lakers getting to around $1.15. And hey, if the Rockets are on, good for them. But we can still win that bet where it's not a direct fade of Houston. And I totally agree is a very good spot for them.
Let's get to look at some college basketball tonight. First Four is going to shut it down in Dayton tonight. Game number 1, 6:40. Game number 2, estimated to start at 9:15. Lehigh Prairie viewing game number 1. Slight favorite here towards Lehigh -3.5. And game number 2, SMU favored by 6.5 points. Kevin, yesterday we saw 2 games come down to the final possession. Expected to have some tight games tonight. And also, all eyes on the prize. Can Miami of Ohio say, yeah, we deserve to be here?
You know, it's interesting, right? Because if Miami of Ohio does pull off this upset, you have to imagine some of the conversation shifts to what in the world was SMU doing in this tournament, which will be very funny. For me, I'm now at the point where I want Miami of Ohio to win because I don't find them versus SMU satisfying enough. Like, if they do get rolled up in this basketball game, it'll almost be a little pathetic is too strong, but like a tick under that, where it's like, really, after all that, like you got rolled by SMU. But I feel like we're in the same spot as yesterday with the Texas NC State total. Total was probably 5-6 points lighter than you would expect. And you bet the over, you know, total starts to move back a little bit, and you knew you were dead about, I don't know, 8 minutes into the game. The worst is you spend an entire game thinking, can we get overtime? And then you're sat there with 12 seconds left, like, we're going to get overtime. And then we did not. I may just fall on the same sword here and play the over in SMU Miami of Ohio, and then somehow watch this thing finish with about 138 points.
Probably where
they
it
could have
should
played
figure
that
up
game
at this
twice.
point. Yeah.
And they weren't going over last night. They could have played that game twice, Kev. And I mean, you want to shoot 30% for that game was never going over even in overtime. Tonight might be a different story because neither of these teams believe in defense. Team totals though?
Yeah, it's possible. I get, you know, it's funny is, and I know not everyone believes in this, but when I watched the track meet that was Howard UMBC, I felt even more uncomfortable. I'll also say, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why Lehigh is a 3.5 point favorite. Again, relatively speaking, in a 16 versus 16, that's like being a double-digit favorite in a game like this. So it's a very interesting number for the Patriot League's representation.
Yep, Kevin running out the clock as usual. Doesn't want to talk about Aaron Judge. What a bogus MVP he is. Much more coming up next, Kevin. Thanks for joining us. Eskimo Game Time Decisions tonight.
Speaking the truth.
This team could be an ATS machine.
Yeah, you know what? I got excited. I usually get excited about the Jets in the offseason and kind of think, they could be sneaky better than people give them credit for. And even this Geno Smith deal, I originally kind of rolled my eyes and thought, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? And then you come to the conclusion and you realize, Kevin, they're paying him $1.3 million a year.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
This is not a probability market. This is an information narrative market, which, by the way, there are already people who know the answer to this question. So
yes.
You are not, you're not battling getting the right price. This is not math. This is who the hell knows where Taylor Swift might get.
Yeah.
You know who knows? Taylor Swift's people.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, still, even though he gave up that home run, Tom, you know the number's going to be there. If he stays healthy, who's touching that guy?
Well, you mentioned him. The only player I've interest in betting on for the AL Cy Young this year would be Brian Wu. And it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the odds. It's a combination of his underlying skill set, where I believe he's trending in terms of his career.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
On the Thunder side, while they haven't had their stars totally for the entire regular season, they're still 3-4 games ahead of where the Spurs are, and that says a lot. Without SGA, without J-Dub, who's missed a large chunk of the year, Chet missed some time, for them to be still good enough to keep winning and stacking these wins, it means something, and it's actually building confidence for those others.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
You know you love it. It's a hump day. Maybe usually hump day is like, hey, we got 2 more days before we get to the weekend here, Joe. What am I going to do with my Thursday and Friday? We know what you're going to do. You're going to be watching the SportsGrid Network and enjoying NCAA college basketball action. And a lot of people, Joe, already have a 4-day schedule lined up with work. Thursday and Friday, don't think so. Saturday and Sunday, head out to the Home Depot, wife. I'm not going with you. I'm watching this stuff. I can't wait for it. It is a fun day here where you get the 2 games tonight, Joe, and then Thursday. It just gets popping around noontime, and it seems like it doesn't stop until Sunday at midnight.
Wall to wall, Donnie, is what it's going to be here. So we get a really nice look at Miami of Ohio, the biggest story of the college basketball season this year tonight. Again, they go from laying as many points as to now all of a sudden getting, a whole lot of points. I can't remember the last time Miami of Ohio was this big an underdog this regular season. So, yeah, it's a little something to prove here tonight. And then, of course, the gates open up tomorrow for just pure pandemonium.
Let's hear from the people. It's our Fade the Public poll. Snap reactions all over the place here. At SportsGrid, we asked the question today, will Team USA ever win another WBC championship? Well, they won it, in 17? They lost the last 2 in the championship games. They will, but the 3 choices were changes need to be made, no, done with this team, and I don't watch the WBC. The favorite right now coming in here, changes need to be made, which is simple as, if you signed up, I can use you to play in this game, right? That's a change that needs to be made, Joe.
Yeah, or, stop, putting limitations on the guys that are available to play in this game. Stop calling the coach and saying, all right, he's not available tonight, but he might be. What are you doing? It's a 162-game season here. Everyone, if he's playing, he's playing. If you're available to play, you're available to play, Donnie. These limitations is ridiculous on so many different levels. That's the only thing that needs to change, Donnie, is give these guys a chance to push their chips all in and want to win, not with limitations on because my team won't let me.
And apparently that last graphic you vote on, I don't watch the WBC, heavily influenced by the Dominican Republic, who refuses to watch the WBC because their team did not make it into the championship game. But now, Joe, Monday night, 2-0 sweep. Tuesday night, 2-0 sweep. It's Wednesday. Here's bye. Pressure's on, people. Joe Ranieri, lead the way. Where are we going tonight?
I'm going back to the team that made us a ton of money this year, Donnie. Miami of Ohio, the Red Hawks, going from the hunted to the hunter, because now nobody expects them to win here. And they've had to deal over the last month and a half. Everybody looking to take a piece of them. Well, now they get an SMU team that thinks just because, well, what, they play in the ACC, they're somehow going to bulldoze them. I'll take all those points because Miami of Ohio still is one of the best shooting teams in the country, nearly 40% from three, and SMU can't stop a nosebleed. So I'll take those points, and Donnie, and I'll sprinkle a little something on that money line for the Red Hawks tonight.
Love to see it taking the points here. Common theme, Joe. We took the points yesterday with two teams. Those two teams didn't even win, but that's how you know you're good. They both covered the point spread here. Take a look at me tonight in the association. Hold your nose, people. The Denver Nuggets are coming to town. Destruction, terror, and mayhem on their mind to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. Did you know this game opened up around 13 points here, 13.5, depending where you're shopping at? Some outlets have moved to 12.5. But for me, that total 242.5 shows we're going to get some up and down action to me. And also, the Memphis Grizzlies only getting 25% of the tickets here. I'm taking the Grizzlies tonight at home, getting close to 2 touchdowns. And the example is easy, Joe. Nobody wants to take the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. You know what? Your boy DRS, he's taking the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. We're taking the points again tonight, Joe. And I think we're going to go for another 2-0 sweep.
I agree, right? Second of a back-to-back. It's not like Denver has been some sort of covering machine here, Donnie, down the road. So, yes, expect a pretty good punch here, especially with that big a total, too, at 242.5. I'll take those points, no problem.
By the way, expect the unexpected, Joe, tomorrow. It's been a couple hundred shows, it feels like, where I've been in the host chair. You've been there in the analyst chair. It's worked out really well. Tomorrow, Joe, a little shake-up with Craig Mitch and Joe Ranieri on Thursday and Friday. Studio action here as your boy DRS moves to the afternoon with Kevin Walsh. How do we feel about that, Joe? Extra credit for you, huh?
Let me just tell you, Donnie, I will be right in this chair, in this spot tomorrow, doing the exact same thing.
And just a few minutes, you'll be in that exact same chair. Get ready for some prediction market action, baby.